Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take another look at Bitcoin, see what's going on here for today, and of course, anticipate what's going to happen next. Big picture, Bitcoin's looking very good, and I don't think we're going to see a significant pullback, at least not for a little while. Continuation patterns, like I mentioned last night, happen for days in a row in most cases, just based on the fact that the bears are conceding, letting the bulls have their day. So, that being said, not a financial advisor, love teaching people how to trade. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for joining me here, of course. Hopefully you can learn a thing or two here today. My goal and my passion is to teach people how to become better traders. So if you want to become a better trader, link in the description below, CryptoCache.tech, as a really awesome website with great resources there. Of course, it's getting updated, so just be patient. It's a newer website, but the bottom line is you do have access to our premium, which basically just allows for you to have signals that I send out for every single trade that I take, as well as, of course, my trading academy that is actually turned out to be a lot better than I expected based on the reviews that I've gotten. So check that out in your own time, but amazing community. Thank you so much again to my current community members for joining me here and just in general being an amazing part of my life. Thank you. So taking a look here at Bitcoin. So standard stuff. I know I addressed this already, but we'll just kind of go through the regular vanilla stuff here and kind of dive deeper into other things. Now, the 50-day simple moving average is below the price action right now. The 200 is trending above, right around 49,000. Now, in general, getting above 50,000 would be amazing. But our very first milestone, I think the biggest milestone, we've been stuck under this for a very long time. Ever since January, even December, we've been testing it. We tested, 46,000 for almost a full month. We eventually lost that, and now that's become a strong resistance. It's only been tested one time, don't get me wrong. It's not like it's an amazing feat, but it's actually going to be a really big deal if we can get past that, because that would reaffirm the fact that we're in bullish territory and we're back on track. Yes, it looks like we're very bullish at this point. Don't get me wrong. Yesterday was a strong day. A lot of whales re-entered the market, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're out of the clear just yet. It doesn't mean we're just going to shoot straight upwards. If we're above 46,000, we have a much better chance of increasing from there because there's a lot, the volume profile is a lot different above there, and it's just one of those scenarios where it's a very nice situation. And let me go ahead and kind of explain what I mean by that here. You can see a tremendous amount of volume here. Obviously, we've got a lot more at the current price point and below the price point. That's very positive. Ideally, the price were to come back down into the 35 to 38,000 range. We have a tremendous amount of volume in that regard. Okay, so over the last year, a year and 3 months, we've seen the most amount of volume at that price point, which is great. Hopefully you were able to dollar cost average as I requested or expected, whatever the case is. Everyone trades different, but generally speaking, it would be good to continue dollar cost average because it is still a decent price point. That being said, though, we have this large amount of volume between 46 and 50,000. That's a volume shelf. In other words, that's going to be a sell pressure and a sell wall when we get there. So just know we break into 46,000. It'd be helpful to have some consolidation sideways and get a good firm foundation at that point and then continue upwards. Obviously, it'd be nice if it blew right through that too. That could very well happen considering what just occurred. But generally speaking, that's roughly where we're at there. So that's kind of the big picture there. Let's go ahead and jump right out, actually go a little bit bigger picture to the weekly. This is something to also acknowledge in the simple fact that 46,000 is also going to be right where the 50-day simple moving average is trending. Okay, so that's trending down essentially. So within the next couple weeks, that'll also be working as a potential resistance. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. Okay, so that's excellent there in that sense. At least excellent again based on the projection that we're heading, not necessarily the fact that that'll be a resistance. I do think we'll see a little bit of resistance there. It's hard to say specifically, but we need a little more volume between now and then to get there. That being said, also, we do have this potential type of increasing pattern here as well on the weekly. So we're making higher lows and effectively higher highs now that this is closed, but keep in mind, this hasn't really officially closed. We're like 1 or 2 trading days into this cycle. So this weekly candlestick hasn't closed yet, but it's a very, very good start. If we can get this to close, just say above 42,500 as a close approximate, then we'll be in good shape to see higher highs on the weekly. Okay, that is important. That's extremely relevant in the big picture here to ensure that we're trending positively, and not just the smaller time frames, but the very large time frames as well. If we look at the monthly, we can see a very similar type of pattern as well, an ascending type of higher lows. Granted, these higher highs are barely higher. It's still higher highs and higher lows no matter how you look at it. So for lack of better terms on the monthly here, we are moving upwards, right? This is an ascending channel. Okay, so big picture, that's a very, very good sign. All right, so I just want to kind of draw that perspective there, kind of drive that home, I guess you could say, because that's essentially a positive thing, right? Furthermore, too, on the 1 day, let's go ahead and note another thing as well. We blasted right straight through 50 on the RSI. That's extremely important to be above 50. And to also have this MACD convergence. So it's basically just telling us we're going to probably likely see a continuation type of play here. If we're going to experience a pullback, it shouldn't be anything lower than 43/41,500. Okay, so again, key level Fibonacci retracement level here, again, based on these levels that I drew out from before. Again, I drew it from February 10th down to the 24th. That's how we got this here. And just bear in mind that that is essentially, a key level support at 41,500. That's extremely important. We also have a support level forming at about 43,000 and 43,400. So if we can close above that here today, it'd be an extremely good sign. Build that foundation of volume there and then leg up. We'll probably hit 46,000 if we can close the day over 43.4. I think that's a pretty strong likelihood just based on 786 being a key level support in a lot of cases if you can close above it. Again, depending on the time frame, obviously every situation is different, but we're definitely looking good here on the 1 day. The 1 day looks fantastic. Even the 1 week and the 1 month looks good. I know I'm kind of brushing over certain things. I didn't cover all the moving averages, especially on the monthly, but again, we got to acknowledge the fact that this is a very big transition. This 4 hour and the 1 hour translates into a very nice 1 day and a 1 week. So we've got some excellent stuff going there. Again, just kind of throwing it out there. Looking at the 4 hour chart here, we're above both moving averages. That's not super relevant. It may be eventually, but not right now. We're up over 70 on the RSI. I don't love that, but it's also very standard. In fact, you can see this happen on continuation plays. You saw this from before. When Bitcoin ramped up, consolidated for about a day, and then continued upwards again. We could very well be seeing that here as well, whereas RSI is working as a support level, where the price, even if the RSI were to come back down, it'll probably bounce and go higher. Okay, so my speculation is that RSI right now above 70 is going to work as a support level moving forward for a little bit longer. And that's, again, it's not super common for that to happen, but when it does happen, it's a continuation play, and it always has a tendency of continuing higher after a brief period of consolidation. And if you saw my video from last night, yes, I wore a tank top, and people like to kind of jive at that, but nonetheless, regardless of that fact, what we're looking at here, though, is from my video from last night, I pointed out the fact that we have usually a small red day candle after a significant increase of over 10%, but the following few trading days increase significantly. We always have a continuation higher, and it's a very common characteristic. So it's one of those things where, again, the bears have conceded for the most part. There's not a lot of bears essentially trying to drive the price down. Pending no nonsense in the news, we should expect RSI at 70 to hold for some time longer. I'd venture to guess we're going to see a very similar play to like this. Same thing as well, okay? I'm very, very confident we're going to hit 46,000 likely this week, but just keep in mind too, that all has to come to an end eventually, right? So just say, for example, we have a very similar play like this. We can expect a pullback possibly down to 43, maybe even 41.5, okay? But I do think this continuation is more likely to occur and move forward and up than it is to go down. Just again, that's the reason why we opened a trade last night. I felt comfortable opening a leverage trade, 5x, nice little profit target there. I think we'll hit 45 and 46. I'm fairly confident of that. We almost hit 45 today, but we had this nice little correction, and I think we're working our way back up. So taking a look here at the 1 hour, let's go ahead and acknowledge a couple of things here. Let's go ahead and see where the Ichimoku Cloud is at. It is getting closer to a potential sell signal. Now I say potential just because you need to understand that this is a conservative indicator. It's going to give you a lot of different angles. The one angle is to get in when the trend is your friend, and to get out before the trend shifts. So again, that potential pullback, we could see it. If it were to happen, not the end of the world. We've got some nice key level supports at 41.5 and higher. That being said, the price is consolidating right around 43,400. This is extremely important to be able to have the price point right there. And do you see how the price kind of rejected out here and then eventually broke through to kind of squeeze out some of those potential shorts? And then, of course, the longs got liquidated, and we're right back to where we started, but we're now above and on the right side of the tracks. 43,400 is extremely important at this point, support level that's going to likely hold, and we're in pretty good shape there in that sense. But the truth be told here, lagging span is coming closer to the price action. So the cloud, being very conservative, is going to say, hey, you may want to close your position or take your profits. Nothing wrong with taking profits if you took a trade down here at 37 and you're up at 43, right? That's about almost what, 17%, I think it was, approximately. So again, holding strong, doing well. In that sense, feel free to take your profits, but just know that the likelihood of Bitcoin going up versus down from here is much higher, even though you'd think contrary to that because, hey, why not open a short? The price is going to come back down. It's overextended. Not exactly the case. There's a lot of whales that re-entered the market. A lot of money came off of exchanges, and they're feeling comfortable at this price point. They all came together and likely banded together, and that is essentially where we're at. And we got to respect the fact that they're in control now, right? The bulls are in control, and until the bears have some kind of potential, they're going to slowly whittle away at this price point. Then, and only then, we discover that we might want to consider taking a trade to the downside. But there's no real reason for that right now. It would be kind of stacking the deck against you, because again, continuation plays are, once you identify them, it's important to stay with them. And I think we got to stick this one out. And there's a strong likelihood we're going to see a price push to the upside versus the downside. It's a very positive thing. But don't. Okay, let me rephrase that. Try to be cautious and don't be naive, I guess you could say, because the price could very well come back down. Today being the day after a significant increase, we can expect some sort of correction. I feel like this is probably the correction we were expecting. It could even be further though. So if it starts trailing down here and hits 41.5, the likelihood of coming back up is very high. Keep in mind, if the price does come closer to 41.5, that'd be an excellent DCA target, as well as a potential for a long push to the upside of 46,000. So we're probably going to channel trade for a little while between 43.4 and 46,000. That's my speculation. And I think near the end of the week, perhaps, depending on the momentum and how far this continuation happens, we could see a pullback closer to the end of the week. We probably shouldn't expect anything significant right away. Again, history has a tendency of repeating itself. And let me just go ahead and throw that one last thing out here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Anytime you see a significant green day, right? There's a small red day followed by 3 or 4 days of continuation. It happens quite a lot. And let's go ahead and find some other ones too here. Here's another 10% day. That's 10%. Followed by like a 5 or 6 before that. But look at that. We got a nice little red day, followed by a nice strong push up. Because again, it's basically the bears and the bulls are kind of fighting it out at this point, right? And then eventually the bears give way because the bulls have control. They got squeezed out real hard. And then the price just continues to go up. That's why the price goes up fast and quick, because there's no selling pressure. Granted, we're going to have some selling pressure potentially once we hit 46,000, but between here and there, that low volume profile gives us the indication that we're probably in pretty good shape to have free roam from 43, what is it, 43.4? Is that what I said it was? I think it's 43.4. Yep, 43,400 up to 46,000. That is the channel that we're likely going to have a lot of wiggle room, so to speak. Not going to see a tremendous amount of selling pressure here, at least not for a little while. Bulls are in control, bears are taking it easy. It's time for you to decide what side you want to be on. Again, that's kind of where we're at there. This just kind of, in my experience, last 15 years, I can tell you these continue higher in most cases versus come down. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more of a correction today. Again, just based on the simple fact that we have to have, in most cases, somewhat of a red day following a strong increase. So I would say minor correction today, significant rebalance closer to 46 through the end of the week, and then potentially a sell-off on Friday for the whales to take their profits throughout the week. It's a very common practice for that to happen. And then, of course, we'll see the price jump back up over the weekend because the laymen are in the market. Again, it's a whole ecosystem and whole scenario. There's a lot of different things that factor in. And that's why TA is important, but you also kind of got to factor in the psychology of those who are controlling the market. If you get on board with what they're doing, you're going to be in just fine, or just good shape, whatever the case is. I can't talk today, I apologize, but I hope you get the gist of what I'm getting at here. If you learned something here, of course, comment below. Greatly appreciate your feedback. If you're not currently a community member, consider joining. I can tell you what, we are making some significant profits, and it's really an awesome experience, more so than just the profit taking. It's great to be able to learn and collaborate. We have weekly roundtable discussions, in fact, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have our roundtable discussions, and this week we're going to talk about trailing stop losses and the importance of that. So once again, I look forward to getting to know you better. If you're not currently a member, CryptoCache.tech is the website, and either way you look at it, I thank you so much for joining me here. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.